Hey there, my name's William Barrett Sims, and so you just got a guitar, and we're going to talk about some of the most important guitar accessories you should have for your guitar. We're going to cover them in no particular order, just this is the order that I find I like to talk about things. So, let's say you have a guitar, doesn't matter if you've got an acoustic or an electric. If you've got an electric, you need a cable and an amp, but let's pretend, these are all just as important. So you should have guitar picks. There are a whole bunch of different kinds of guitar picks. I recommend going to a guitar store, getting a variety pack, and figure out which ones you like. I like these hard, pointy ones. Some people like the bigger ones that are less pointy. Some people like these big triangle ones. You'll figure out which ones are best for you, and but just try a whole bunch of stuff. The second thing you're going to need is you're going to need a capo. There are a bunch of different kinds of capos. Some are super expensive, some aren't as expensive. I found the ones that I like the best have this spring on them, because if there's just one tension, maybe up here at the neck where it's thinner, there's less tension. Up here, where it starts to get a little bit thicker, there'll be more tension. It'll knock things out of tune. So you want to be able to adjust that. Just me personally, this is what I find. But capos are super helpful to be able to change keys without having to actually transpose in your head. So it's super helpful. That's the number one thing. The second thing you're going to need, again, in no particular order, is you're going to need a tuner, some way to tune your guitar. These clip-on tuners work really well. This is a D'Addario. They're totally fine. You clip it on, and it tells you where to go. I personally am a huge fan of these Peterson tuners. They're strobe tuners. They're a little bit trickier to use, but they're way more accurate. They do tend to be expensive, but I do like them a lot. You can also your phone has a tuner in it. The problem with the phone tuners, they're not really very accurate, and they're hard to use, especially when there's noise in the room. So if you're playing with other people, you're trying to tune while the TV's on or something like that, the phone tuners won't work. I do a lot of open mics, and when I see people show up and they're trying to tune by phone, and there's a whole bunch of noise going on, that's just not going to work out. Not going to work out. So you'll probably also want to get a metronome. Metronomes are great on the phone. There are a bunch of great apps on the phone. You can also buy standalone metronomes. The standalone metronomes, they're great, but they're also harder to use. This is like a TM60. They're harder to use than the phone ones. The phone ones, or your browser, if you just search for metronome, they'll show up. They're great in the browser on your computer. This Korg TM60 has a tuner built into it and a metronome, so it's one device that has both of them. I don't use it very often. I don't use that one very often. I'm usually using my phone metronome, which works really well. Something else you'll need, especially if you have an acoustic, if you plan on playing live on stage with an acoustic, especially with other people, you need a feedback buster. I'd probably put this at the bottom of your list with things you need. But if you're playing with a lot of stage volume, like you go to an open mic and they've got a monitor, blaring right back at you so you can hear yourself, that vibration from the monitor is going to hit your guitar and it's going to make it vibrate. It's going to cause this feedback problem, this low level feedback. Really good sound guys, they'll take the frequency out, but usually open mics are just kind of plug and play. So this is something that's helpful. I find it to be helpful, like $10, $12 at most. And one of the things that's really important for acoustic guitars or guitars that are hollow bodies like this 335, you're going to need something to handle humidity. So I live in Austin, Texas, where it gets pretty dry here, especially in the winter. It gets really dry. If you're in Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, it gets any place where it gets super dry, especially in the winter when it's really dry. You're going to need something to handle the humidity for your guitar. If you let your guitar's humidity get too low, you can actually damage the guitar. You can crack the finish, you can crack the wood, everything will start separating because the wood starts to shrink and it starts pulling on all the joints and it can really mess up the guitar. You can really start to tell on acoustics when the frets start buzzing. You'll be playing and you'll be hearing you'll be playing and you'll hear this fret buzz. It's because the guitar shrunk and it's warped it a little bit. So you got to do some humidity. If you've got a lot of guitars like I do and you hang them on the wall all the time, you get a whole room humidifier. I have a whole room humidifier. They're like $30-$40. And you just set it to 45% humidity and you got to keep putting water in it, but it works really well. If you're going to keep guitars in your case, you can use things like this Oasis. This just drops in the sound hole and it's totally fine. Even if you don't have a whole room humidifier, if you don't keep it in the case all the time, just putting this in there will help a lot. I've become a huge fan of these D'Addario packs because they'll pull the humidity out when it's too wet and release the humidity when it's too dry. And they last forever. They're Humidipack. I don't know if you can see that. That's the thing. And you just put this in, you can drop this in the case, you can drop it in the sound hole, do anything you want. They work really well. Keeping your guitar at the relative humidity correct. Last thing, which seems like a weird accessory, like I never thought I needed this until I got one. Then I'm like, oh, I really need it. I'm just bend down for a second. You'll find that let's talk about this for a second. You find if you're using your guitar and you're having to like move your leg up like this a lot, right? And you've got this you're always struggling to try to get the guitar in position for you to play. They make these foot stands. I just got this. This is a real cheap one I got off at Amazon. It's $1. I don't know. It's like $10. They'll collapse down flat so it'll fit in your amp, in the back of your amp, or it'll fit anywhere. Pretty small. And it's adjustable, height's adjustable. But really, it just lets you get your foot in the right position. That's it. Last thing you need, especially if you're planning on like going out to play or playing with other friends, get a guitar strap. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything super expensive. Of course, I go to Walker and Williams and I get these really fancy Walker and Williams straps. These are more like these are Christmas presents, right? So I get these really cool straps and they're super fun. And my wife gets me a new one every year. It's a lot of fun, but they don't have to be expensive. Anything that will get the guitar up, where you can hold it. If you do plan on playing live, and I recommend playing standing up. A lot of open mics will let you play sitting down, totally fine. But a lot of us, play standing up, especially open mics, just 15 minutes, just stand up, get it done. If you're gonna play standing up, practice standing up quite a bit. Because the guitar, when you play sitting down, the guitar is gonna be higher. And as soon as you play standing up, the guitar drops down quite a bit. So just make sure you practice. Make sure you practice playing standing up a lot. All right. And if you have a favorite accessory or something you really like, I'd love to hear about it. And if you're looking for lessons, I offer lessons at Take Lessons. So please feel free to reach out to me there, and have a good day.